Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back to Olympus. Today we had FOMC and we were able to play the crap out of this 115 point move. Nearly 115 points, maybe on the dot, from peak to trough. So, today, right, we had set out, or I had set out some levels in the morning, right here, a little bit after the open. And these were some crucial levels that ended up paying heavily. So in the morning, we had decided that we wouldn't be trading too much just because IV and volatility was gonna jack up these SPX and SPY premiums. So most of us stayed away from that, and I decided to actually pick up some snap calls instead, which paid out pretty nicely as well. We could go over that a little bit later. 85% here, but I think they hit a peak of like 100% where I was able to get a couple trims off. But we can go over these levels and what we did during FOMC. So we opened today. Not too much action, right? Chop, chop, chop. We sort of in this little bit of a downtrend. But what do we do at my levels? So these white lines are my levels that I had stated in the morning before we had gotten there. So 75 was the level for the day. That's why I didn't state it here because I'd stated it last night. And so we sort of hover around 75, right? Bounce up and down. Open, we don't really play. We don't really pay attention. A lot of us are futures traders, so we are able to catch a lot of these moves without having to pay the insane premium that we saw today. I think SPX cons that were 150 points out of the money were trading at like $200 a contract, so a little bit crazy. So we stayed away from those, and yeah, most of us were scalping futures all day. But let's take a look at these levels, right? A lot of these levels I get from my time spent on the TPO chart, right? A lot of you might not know what this is. It's just a time profile, similar to a volume profile, but instead of volume, it's by time. Obviously, it shows the volume here as well, but this is the time profile. So that's where I get all my levels. I'll do a lesson on it in the future, just because I think it's a crucial part of trading and something that everyone can sort of have in their arsenal or disposal, just to be aware of some of these levels that people look for. So we had 84 drawn out to the T, right? Retrace, we actually bounced between 75 and 84 a couple times this morning, and sort of reject, right? Not necessarily down to my second level yet, so we're not necessarily in a trade yet, and we actually come down right here. Come down to right here, right on the dot, 63 on the dot, right? We had said 63 downside, and if you're in short, that's where I would have been taking my profits. But I was not short. I was looking for a bounce off 63, right? All these levels aren't necessarily right. If you're short, these are levels that you want to be, or that I want to be getting out of, or getting out at, and maybe looking for a potential bounce. In this case, I wasn't short. I was looking for a bounce, and we ended up getting that, right? We'd gotten in, or I had gotten into, I know a couple of guys got into ES and MES, but I'd gotten into some MNQs, which I'll show later. So we get a nice bounce off that, right? Hold. This is prior to the FOMC meeting, so it's pretty choppy, but no theta. So futures makes a little bit of money. We're able to take some off here during this little bit of chop and little bit of an up move. But not the biggest moves, right? And then comes the FOMC at 11 o'clock Pacific time. These levels still paid, right? We had 54. Come down to 54. Bounce off. A couple guys caught that bounce. A little bit harder because this was such a quick move. This is a 2-minute chart, by the way. But we go right back up to 83, 84. Not necessarily on the dot, but sort of wicket, struggle to get over it. And we retrace back down to 63, right through it, and back down to 84. Sort of take out these lows and sort of fool a bunch of guys to go short, but they pop it right back up. And so we see this move, right? We still haven't taken out these highs, right? So I don't think any of us in the group played this sort of during, I guess, the duration of the first 30 minutes before Powell had spoken. So Powell had started his meeting, or I guess press conference, at 11:30 right here. And once he starts speaking, we start rallying, right? And that's sort of where these upper levels come into play. So I will do a lesson on TPO pretty soon coming up, but for now, I'll just go over some of these levels and what we did there. A sneak peek at order flow and a footprint chart and such. So 41.10, 41.25, 41.44, and I'd stated the next one after this was 41.60 in the voice chat because I didn't expect us to go up that high. So 41.92, we blast right through it, right? No real hesitation. So we look at the next level. And if you're in multiple contracts, that's where I'm taking trims, right? That's where I'm preferably looking to take trims, looking to maybe play a bounce off of or a rejection off of. I never went short today, so only played re-entries into longs and such. So come up to 110, a little bit of hesitation, right? A little bit of hesitation, not too much. Next 2-minute candle, and we're up again, right? Up to our next target, 41.25 to the dot initially. Then we sort of wick above, down, up. If you stay above this 41.10 level, which is crucial. I heard some guys getting short up here. I was hoping if I were to go short that it would take out this level first, but we didn't. So we actually got over and hit our next target, 41.41. This one wasn't too precise. Maybe could have done a little bit better if I taken a deeper look at the TPO, but nevertheless, profit target hit. Sort of retrace, right? Previous level. We wick it hard. Never come back to it. I guess we do. We come close to it, and we pop up to 41.60, 41.63 at the high. And that was sort of, I didn't expect much higher just because we were approaching the last 20 minutes of the trading session. We were seeing a little bit of exhaustion going on, so a lot of our guys had gotten out up there. So take a look at some of my executions and some of the profits our members made. Alrighty, so this was my MNQ play, the micro E-mini NASDAQ. Trades a little bit differently than ES, nevertheless, still made some profit. So I'd grabbed 5 of these up here. This was when we bounced off of ES at the 63 level. So I'd seen some confirmation, enough confirmation for me to go long. I'd grabbed 5 of these. We had scaled out here to there, and scaling out here, right? Clearly price goes under this level during FOMC, but scaling out here is what allows me to hold through these, right? We go red on the position, but on the overall trade, we're still green because at this point, I only have 2 contracts left, and we're taking profits up here and up here. So that's what allows me to hold through this little drawdown here and there. Obviously, I had stops down, so I would go basically break even on the trade. So we're able to hold through this. This one I actually wasn't paying too much attention because I'd completely forgotten about my 2 runners that were left because I had not hit my stop loss. So we just let these ride. And once ES rejected the 40.60 level, we had gotten out of both of these. I was hoping for a little bit more of a push, but had to get out of the last one here. So, and just to show you guys like how much or how our members really profit, right? I don't really give signals, right? I don't like to. That's borderline financial advice, okay? I just provide these levels and sort of what I'm looking at and sort of explain my mindset and sort of my thought process when I'm making these decisions. So it helps my members sort of formulate their own process, their own edge. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here. Give you guys as much knowledge as possible so that you guys can make your own informed decisions and execute on them, right? And I think the more time you spend looking at charts and such, different types of charts, different types of indicators and such, you start to get a feel for the market and sort of where and when and how you make or lose money. And losing money and analyzing that part is also important as well. But just goes to show your willingness to learn. We actually had a new member, or actually a friend of mine, that is completely new to trading, right? He had paid attention to my levels. He had put the time in to start learning how to trade. And he was able to come up with 22,000 in profit. Okay, this is a sim account. They're both sim accounts, right? Okay, this isn't real money. Could have lied to y'all and said this was real money, but no. He's just getting into trading. But he did the profit that you see there, the 737. That one's on the evaluation account that Apex has. So that one technically on the road to real money, almost, right? So he only played this move, the break of 41, right, on the second break, because I don't like to get in on the initial break. He was watching me, listening to me, sort of listened to my thesis into the trade, and decided to take the trade himself. Took it from 41 all the way up to 60 for a nice 20-point move, close to 20-point move, right? And, you know, with things like this, you can minimize the risk by putting a stop right under, right? And obviously you don't want to be entering on like a wick like this, right? You want to wait for a little bit of confirmation. But yeah, that's what he did. Although on the where it shows the 22K in profit, he was on the sim account trading, I believe like 10 or 20 ES cons. So a little bit unrealistic for him at that point, but sort of helps him get a feel for kind of the size he should be trading with going forward. So yeah, paper accounts do help, right? If you're using them properly, sort of, and learning from them. So he's had his fair share of losses already, and I'm sure he understands. Now he's a quick learner. He's been, you know, learning the past couple days, couple weeks, and he's getting better and better at it. So great to see improvement like that. So after FOMC meetings, right, we don't necessarily get a continuation move all the time, not always, right? And we hit a peak of 41.63, right? A little bit lower than, I believe this was the last CPI reading, where we hit this and rejected completely and just flushed. But, right, not always do we get a continuation after FOMC. Sometimes they reverse the entire move, and sort of confuses some beginners into, or a day like this will sort of entice beginners into going long or swinging long. But it's not necessarily always the case, so be careful for that. I will post my levels either later tonight or tomorrow morning, and hopefully we can do the same tomorrow, right? Get some banger plays, make some good decisions, and execute. So hope to see you all tomorrow morning, and have a great rest of your day, guys.